Hi, my name is Christy Hubler and I own fabricatedframes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to utilize jandofabrics.com fleece from J&O Fabrics in Pennsauken, New Jersey. And I have here two dog jacket patterns with Velcro, reversible for both of them, and with my e-patterns at fabricatedframes.com/epatterns.html or at fabricatedframes.com/dogproducts.html. Using jandofabrics.com fleece, you can make your own dog jacket for a Yorkshire size terrier, extra small size. It's about 11 inches with an 11-inch long back from neck collar to tail, and it is about 13 to 14-inch girth, chest circumference, and it's really easy to make. And they have Velcro and two pieces of polar fleece. This is Buckaroo Bandit, and this is a nice cowboy fabric, and this is a plaid, gray and a pink plaid. It looks kind of like a heathery, kind of pinkish gray color, but again, it's reversible, so you just turn it inside out, either which way. You're fine. Match up your patterns, and there you go. And I'm going to show you how to make the dog jackets. Okay, these are the supplies needed for what you want to do to make a dog jacket using J&O Fabrics.com polar fleece or fleece. The jacket pattern I made out of, as you can see here, contact paper. You could use contact paper. You could use printer paper. You could have you could use sheet protectors. You could use this thing called graphics acetate. It's clear acetate. It's acid free for other projects if you need that for crafting and scrapbooking and picture frames, etc. And it comes in a short roll. This is about 20 inches. You can get it in 40 inches if you have a really big pattern. And why I suggest that for the dog jackets is because if you have a pattern that you're going to be putting this paper or contact paper pattern over, and you want to figure out, if it has different lines and layout and different, like a pattern that's really intricate, and you want to make sure that everything's all nice and even across, and you want to make sure you have it all in the right spots, you want to have something clear, which is why I suggest this sheet protector, in case you can't get the graphics acetate by the roll. The graphics acetate by the roll you can get from AC Moore, probably even Michael's. Use a coupon for it. Otherwise, you could get a cheap pack of sheet protectors. And basically, I would get at least 2 sheet protectors, double-sided, and cut up the side here, cut off this side, and you're going to tape them together all around, and then you could use your paper pattern and trace all around it, and then use the clear pattern to lay over the fabric when you go to the fabric store to figure out how much you need and where it's going to lay out. And same thing with the acetate, the clear acetate. Okay, and then you have pins, and I'll show you how that'll go. I'm going to make a pattern here, and then I'm going to trace them and transfer them over to the acetate and the sheet protectors. Thank you. Okay, so I took the paper pattern and I made it about 15 inches across, which once you put the Velcro on the inside and the outside, it'll be for a dog whose chest is about 13 to 14 inches girth, just by about about 11 from tail to collar area. And so I'm transferring the paper pattern that's on contact paper to, as you can see here, this is called the clear acetate, or you could use sheet protectors. I would take at least 2 sheet protectors and flatten them out, cut off the edges, open it up, and then take 2 of those opened up sheet protectors and put them together. I'll show you that in the next segment of the video. I'm also using a marker because you could use pen, but it's really hard to show, so I used a Sharpie marker and I went around the edges, and then you just cut out that pattern. And it's really simple. When you transfer it to the fabric, it's really going to be super simple because you'll be making 2 patterns slightly bigger than the pattern itself, and you'd be sewing a stitch around the edge, kind of making a stitch pattern or border, if you will. And I'll show you. It's so simple. It's just so simple. Just to let you know, I use pins at critical areas of the pattern all around to hold the pattern to the acetate, so that way you could easily take the marker and go around the edge, and you'll be fine from there. So straight pins, contact paper, clear acetate, or sheet protectors, a marker, pencil, pen, and that's pretty much it to make the patterns. It's really easy. I'll just work off of the patterns that I'm going to send. I have several patterns for a specific dog that I had made. Several patterns for. The dog kept growing lengthwise, and it kept growing widthwise as well, so I kept having to expand the pattern out and lengthen the tail. And this is how the customer wanted it. The customer wanted this tail like this and not curved, but I could do a curved if you wanted me to for the tail area. And this is how she wanted it. So she had a Yorkshire Terrier, and that's how we kept expanding it and customizing it, and it's exactly how the customer wanted it, basically. And we worked from there. Okay, well, I took a sheet protector, as you can see, and I cut off the edge. I cut off all this extra edge right here. I just cut it down this way, and then I cut down, you can see it close up. Wait a second. You see how it has those little dots? Right here, I cut off that little edge there. And then, what I did was, I opened it up, and here's the fold right about here. And you can see where the fold is. I opened it up this way, and I took the second sheet, and I opened that up this way, where the fold is about right here. You can see it. And I taped across this way on one side, and on the other side flipped it over and tape. And then I put the paper pattern over this, and I lined it up to the bottom where it was nice and even and square, and I took a marker and I went all around to trace around the paper pattern. And then if you want, you could hole punch through the plastic pattern, you could hole punch through the contact paper pattern, you could hole punch through the clear acetate, which I have, which is, as you can feel, it's thicker gauge versus this is kind of not so much. This is like lightweight vinyl. It is acid free, by the way, and same with this, the graphics acetate. They're both acetate. So you're going to cut around inside the line so that you don't transfer the black marker to anything. You could do that. And then you'll have one of many different type of patterns. You could have the paper, you could have the sheet protector, acetate plastic pattern that's clear and see-through, or you could have the acetate. If you want to go that far, you could do the acetate pattern, as you could see, just like that. And then you could just use this hole puncher. This one I use is $6 from AC Moore, and just go on the inside and hole punch on the inside all around, 2 up here, like a little bit apart from each other, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, etc., and go around it. So that way when you go pin those areas, you put the pins through the holes and it'll be fine. So hold it down and there you go.
Would you want to predict a lie?
I want to see you pictures.
Did I predict a lie?
Yeah, I mean, like, would you?
Whoa.
I like the super what?
Yes. Hi. Okay. So this is the plastic pattern. And you could go to a fabric store like J&O Fabrics. Go to jandofabrics.com or J&O Fabrics in Pennsauken, New Jersey. And you could bring your plastic clear pattern with you, and you can go over a pattern that you're interested in and see how much you need, and then say, okay, I want the pattern here. And so this kind of lays it out so that you can see how it's going to lay, basically, what direction the fabric's going to go. Usually it's from salvage edge, as you can see on the side, to salvage edge to salvage edge that way. It comes off the bolt that way. This is a pretty wide piece of fabric, so you get a lot more. So for this dog jacket, I would probably say either 2 fat quarters or a half a yard. This one, maybe not even half a yard. You can see I have holes here where the pins are.
Huh?
Put the pins, heads facing inward, point side facing out through the pinholes, and you go all around with your stitching. Okay, as you can see, I have 2 patterns. One for the outside and one for the inside. And you can see up close, what I did was I made sure that all the lines are close to being all the patterns are laid out on top of the fabric, so that way, if it's, as you can see, it comes in just a little here, 1, 2, down here. You go over to this one, and it comes in a little here, down to the 1, 2, down here, and make sure that they're all the same spot laid out on the fabric, so that when I go sew around the image, it'll be in the same spot on both this pattern and this pattern. And then that way, when I go line my fabrics, the pattern will be the same for both sides, both front and back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch a line around the pattern, all the way around, up over here, around here, all around here, all around here, all around here, all around here. The neck area down to the tab, the other arm area to the tab, here, down here, down here, and then I'll cut around cut the excess out. I'll snip in at the corners that go, the 90-degree angle corners that go in, and I'll snip at 45-degree angles where they point out. Snip out, snip in, snip out, and then I'll cut after I stitch the line around the pattern. I'll snip, 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 snip. When you do curves, you've got to snip inward as you go, so that way it lays nice. When I get the line on here, on each pattern, when I have the stitch line going all the way around on both of them, I will then align the stitch lines together facing towards each other, face side up on the one, face side facing down on the other, and line up all the stitch marks, and I'll use my pins as I go. And I'll keep an opening at the bottom, and I'll stitch around where my line is, I'll snip at my curves, snip all around at the curves, make my 45-degree angles where necessary, cutting off so that they don't have any bulkiness at the points facing out. And I'll have an opening at the bottom when I turn it inside out. Now, how it becomes a jacket is you're going to put the Velcro on the left-hand side of each one. Put the Velcro on this pattern on the inside lining. You put the Velcro on the left side of the outside fabric. because what you do is they'll face each other, facing inward towards each other, with the outside of the fabric facing out on both sides. The Velcro on the one is going to be facing down here. Well, this piece is going to be facing up, so when you turn it inside out, they'll lay on each other. They'll meet, whereas the one will latch over on the other like that, and it'll be on the right hand side. So it's key, and I'll show you later how the Velcro is going to lay on the left hand side on both pieces. Okay, so I'm about ready to sew a stitch line around the pattern, all the way around, up and around here, down, etc., across, all around the pattern. So I'm picking thread, and this particular polar fleece is, well, it's supposed to be pink and gray, but this is looking like a hazy, heathery kind of purpley pink kind of gray. So I picked the thread, the middle one that was best, that would blend in the best, for an all-purpose use to go around. And then when we go put on the Velcro, you could use either or. Normally I would say, make sure that the soft side is on the inside and the harsh, the rough side is on the outside. Basically, when you put this, it's going to be put on both left-hand sides of each pattern, because when you do that, after that, you're going to take the finished Velcro pieces that are sewn on, and you're going to have one facing up, and then the other is going to be facing down. So the left hand side of the other one will be here, but facing down. And when you turn it inside out, you'll see they'll close. So let me get to picking. Let me get the machine threaded, and then I'll sew a line, and then I'll pull the pattern out, and I'll show you where the line is, and that's how you'll match up your pattern to pattern when you pin them together. You'll be pitching stitch line to stitch line all around, and you'll use a needle. I'll show you in a few. Okay, so basically I'm starting right now. I'm going to start sewing a stitch all around the whole entire pattern. And I have my pins set in, and I have them the head side facing in, the sticky, pointy side facing outwards. If you could see, I try to make sure that the pin stayed within this realm right here. I just scooped it in, and then under, and then back out through these holes at each area, which you could use with, you could punch yours out with a hole puncher. It's really simple. And it's just nice to have a layout for where to put your pins, instead of having, I don't know where I'm going to put my pins, how do I, it's nice to have a layout of where to put your pins. And with it being contact paper, is thicker, so it could take it. And you can start whichever side you want. I'm starting on this side. I'm left-handed, so I do things maybe differently than you if you're right-handed. But which side you want to start on to be comfortable is fine. And I put my sewing machine on a 2-length and a 2-width. Now when we go do the Velcro, not to jump ahead, but what you're going to do is you're going to make a straight stitch around the whole, all 4 sides, and then you're going to switch over to your machine, and you're going to make it so that the length is either between 0 and 1, 0 or 1, or between, and you're going to have the width at 5 because you want them really close together. It's going to be on a zigzag stitch. Do 3, and you're going to have a zigzag stitch, but you're going to really, really keep it close, kind of like as if you're embroidering or making a buttonhole or something. And that's how I do it. So when you get done going around it, you're going to switch over to the zigzag stitch, pull up, switch over to zigzag, and make your length between 0 and 1, or 0 or 1, make it so that it's really, really close, and then make your width for the zigzag part, the part that goes make that 5, and do that all the way around, at least another 4 times. So you can stitch around a straight stitch once and then go around with the zigzag with the close but wide stitching. Do that at least 4 times, maybe up to 6 times, because you want to make sure that these things don't fall off. I did a straight stitch just once and it kind of did, you really should do the zigzag to make sure that it's on there. It's just one of those things. It helps secure the Velcro and makes it go, especially when you do the belly bands for the dogs. They really need to stay on because you're constantly washing them. So, okay, let me start right now, and I'm going to stitch. And then I'll show it to you after I'm done stitching around the pattern. I just also want to give you a tip, is that especially with the thinner fabrics that fray a lot, or you're cutting close, just leaving a small selvage edge, regardless. And I do this for my fabric photo frames as well. When I'm making the washable sewn fabric photo frames, all the parts are kind of like a pillow, and in a way it's kind of like the same principle, because you're going to be sewing these 2 pieces facing in each other and then turning it out. So all your corners, I'd like you, just as practice, I backstitch all my corners. I backstitch a little further out, and when I'm doing this one, I do a little further out, and I just do it about 2 or 3 times, and I come out to about here. And when I go to snip each corner, going in at the inside corners and making a 45 cut to get rid of the excess on the outside corners, I like knowing that that this is secure with a backstitch, and just especially when you're putting the 2 pieces together, again, backstitch, so that way, it's secure. Especially with the thinner, the fabrics that fray a lot. I would do that. So, there you go. Next. As you can see, I have sewn around the pattern. You can see the stitch marks going up and around and across and then down in the armhole, the neck hole, around here for the flap to go down, and so on. All around, and I pinned the Velcro in place. And I did the same thing here for the inside lining. I've determined that the inside lining, I just like this one better for some reason, just slightly more. So I said, okay, this is going to be the outside, and then when it flips, and the inside lining is going to be like this. And when you flip it, the other way, it's going to be overlapping, where the outside is going to go on top, and this is going to be on the inside. So I'm going to now, as you can see, I did not snip in and cut out a piece of the armhole. I kind of just went around it. That'll help with certain things, and then the layout, like for it to lay a little flatter. I am going to, once I get the Velcro sewn on completely on both pieces, then I will flip the one on top of the other and pin them around where the stitching is. You can see right here. I will match this part, which will be about here. This is the harsh, this is the inside, with this part right here. When I pin them all around, I will push the pin through and line against each line it all up, pin it all around. So again, all around my lines. And it's easy because you could see, it's easier on this side to see the lines. So when I get to that point, it'll be nice when I sew them. I'm going to be sewing, the back sides are going to be facing out, these insides. The outside of the fabric, it'll be facing inward towards each other, and then I will, after I've stitched it together, I'm going to leave an opening at the bottom about yay big, to get my hand through and pull everything out. Before I turn this inside out, though, I'm going to snip at the curves, snip all this little excess out, snip. I'm going to 45-degree cut at the outside corners, like this one here. And I'm going to cut inward towards the corners that push inward, like this side and this side. and then I'll cut off excess at the around here, so that way this won't be so bulky. And then I'll turn it inside out, and then I'll sew a finish line all around, get it healthy, push it all out, make sure it all lays flat, and then I'll sew all around the outside edge once it's turned under, and then it'll be finished. Okay, so now I'm about ready to sew around the clear acetate pattern, and the only reason why I used the clear acetate is because I wanted to make sure that I had everything lined up. If I'm going to do the same on this piece over here, that I had used the cut up sheet protector with, from Staples or wherever, I wanted to make sure that it would be the same on this one as well. Now this one I use Graphics clear acetate from AC Moore. I think you can go to Michael's too, different art supply places or online. And I'm going to be going around, if you could see, around the pattern like I did with the contact paper pattern that I had made. And then I'll take this off and I'll sew the Velcro on the left hand side. And I'll do that for each piece. I'll sew around the pattern and then sew the Velcro on the left sides of both of the patterns. And then pin them together and turn, sew around the edge. Then cut like I did with the gray one, with the gray and the pinky heather colored plaid, and go from there. This is a specific pattern, the way that it's very organic, the way it's laid out. So that's why I opted to use the clear pattern. And you can take the clear pattern with you when you go fabric shopping. And when you pull out the bolts and you're looking at them and just trying to decide, oh, which fabric do I want to use? Oh, this is a unique pattern. It's kind of really all over the place. That's when you want to use the clear pattern. You just transfer the contact paper or the paper printout, the PDF. Just transfer it to contact paper. And then transfer that to the clear acetate, the sheet protectors or the acetate. And then you'll see through it when you're looking at the fabric bolt how you want your pattern to lay out. So let me sew up around these two pieces of buckaroo bandana fleece for this fabric's dog jacket, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now I'm about ready to sew around the clear acetate pattern, and the only reason why I used the clear acetate is because I wanted to make sure that I had everything lined up. If I'm going to do the same on this piece over here, that I had used the cut up sheet protector with, from Staples or wherever, I wanted to make sure that it would be the same on this one as well. Now this one I use Graphics clear acetate from AC Moore. I think you can go to Michael's too, different art supply places or online. And I'm going to be going around, if you could see, around the pattern like I did with the contact paper pattern that I had made. And then I'll take this off and I'll sew the Velcro on the left hand side. And I'll do that for each piece. I'll sew around the pattern and then sew the Velcro on the left sides of both of the patterns. And then pin them together and turn, sew around the edge. And cut like I did with the gray one, with the gray and the pinky heather colored plaid, and go from there. This is a specific pattern, the way that it's very organic, the way it's laid out. So that's why I opted to use the clear pattern. And you can take the clear pattern with you when you go fabric shopping. And when you pull out the bolts and you're looking at them and just trying to decide, oh, which fabric do I want to use? Oh, this is a unique pattern. It's kind of really all over the place. That's when you want to use the clear pattern. You just transfer the contact paper or the paper printout, the PDF. Just transfer it to contact paper. And then transfer that to the clear acetate, the sheet protectors or the acetate. And then you'll see through it when you're looking at the fabric bolt how you want your pattern to lay out. So let me sew up around these two pieces of buckaroo bandana fleece for this fabric's dog jacket, and we'll go from there. Okay, I am right now. I had straight stitched. As you can see, it kind of raises. The harsher one of the Velcro, the harsher side, it's tougher for some reason. You do have to do the zigzag stitch, because you'll see this, that's just not going to cut it. You could go around 4 times with a straight stitch and it's still not going to cut it. So really, I like to do the zigzag a couple times around. You're going to catch half and half. You're just going to catch half and half. Half one side, half into the fabric. Half the Velcro, half the fabric. And let me stop, and then I'll come back to this and I'll show you what it looks like as we get thicker with the zigzags and closer to the end of finishing. Okay, see how it looks right here? This is one time going around with the zigzag stitch, with it being close with the 0 to 1 length and the 5 width. You're catching half on the Velcro, half on the fabric. This is, I went back about 2 or 3 times back and forth. I'm going to go around again. I can still feel a little bit of the edge, especially on the harsh. So I'm going to go around. This is the reason why I want to go around several times. So that way it doesn't fray off or peel, because it's going to be on the inside. It's going to be hard to catch it and make it nice and neat with this white on white. If this were to fall off and you have to sew it on again, because then you're going to wind up having white thread on your fabric, which is okay because this has white in it. It's kind of like a creamy white if you were to have to re-sew the Velcro on again. So it's better to catch it now, make sure it stayed on, that it's staying on correctly before having to, later on. If you just did this, or you just, with the straight stitch, or you just did 1 round or even 2 or 3 rounds of the zigzag stitch after straight stitching, it'll stay on better. So do it now in the prep time before having to go back, a couple months later. Oh, the Velcro fell off. Okay, well now you got to stitch it on again and have white, thread on the opposite side of your, on the outside if you were to. Or the inside, either way. This just makes it look nice and neat, to make sure you do it here before finishing. So, there. Okay, I'm going to show you how I did this. As you can see, I have all the pins in. Head out or head in, whichever way you want the pins. But the point is that you're matching up the corners, like all the lines. You're pinning them together. What you're going to do is you're going to sew around that line all the way around. Now after I'm done pinning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing. Now you're going to leave an open big enough for your hand to get in, at least 4 fingers. So start about here, back stitch. When you end, back stitch there. Also, make sure you back stitch here, up a little past it, and a little past it. Just go a couple of times. And that's for all the corners, outside and inside. Just keep back stitching. Every time it turns and makes an angle, back stitch, back stitch, back stitch. Do that all around. Okay, and then what you're going to do for pinning, I'm going to show you how I pinned it. What I did was, where did I put it? I put it, no. Here we go, this one. Okay, see, what I did was, you see, right up here, you see where that angle is, where that point. I went through there, and I said, okay, what's it look like on this side? And I said, oh, okay, the pin's here, okay. And I lined them all up, and this particular one, make sure it's really in there. Really in there. Let me see this for a second again. I'll find it. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to go in. Oh, here we go. And then you go in like this. And you go. See? You go in. Go in. Okay. Go in. Hard to do this on video. Right, so do like this. Okay, see where that point is. You see where that point is? See? Perfect. And then you just do like that. And you do the same thing, and you do that around. What I would do is at each outside corner here, I'd pin here, start here, then go down to here. And that way it lines it up so you can straighten it, and then do the insides. And go to each main corner, and then do the and then do the insides. And remember, leave an opening here. You see how I did this? Each, kind of angles here, so make sure that at each angle that it turns, pin it. And then at strategic points, make sure that these all line up on the opposite side as well. See? Make sure that they're pinned that way. Okay. Now I have sewn the pieces together for both the red bandana buckaroo and for the plaid that we have, the gray plaid. As you could see, I left an opening at the bottom. You may want to have a little bit bigger, but that's up to you. I started at this end and I went all the way around, and then what I did was I snipped at 45-degree angles the outside corners and snipped in towards the inside corners. Outside, snip, 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 and then all the curves I snipped close to the edge, not to the edge, but close to the edge, on all the curves, snipped all around the edges so you didn't have any bulk. If you feel that it's too bulky, use your embroidery scissors or small sharp scissors like this and snip out the excess. That's fine. Just push your finger up to the edge and see where it's sewn together, and just cut up the excess right before that. Again, snipping at all the curves, snipped all around the curves, etc. Cut at the 45-degree angles, cut in at 45, cut out. Okay. And as you can see, here are the cut marks. As you can see, okay, here too, and here as well, all the little snippies. Now we're about ready to turn it inside out, and for each of them, for the plaid and for the red. And also, as you can see, this is facing down. The Velcro on this side of the fabric is facing down, and on the other side it would be facing up, so you could see that when you turn them inside out, they'll join. Okay, next step. Now this part's going to be a little bit tricky trying to pull it out, because this end right here, as you can see, it's a really unique, strange pocket to have to pull out. You're really going to have to get your hand in there and really pull it out. And if you have to use something skinny and small to kind of poke it, and kind of when you're pulling it out, you can do that once you get it out of the pocket out here, and just go back in and get something dull to kind of poke it out. But it can be a little bit really, what's the word I want to use? It's not stressful, but it's just, it's kind of like, I'll show you. Let me see. It's just a little bit tricky. First off, just pull it all out first. Try to get it all out, like that. And then get this guy out, get it in the pocket, get in there, and really get your fingers in there and get it out. Now, this part, the harsh part, you can hear it, this part right here, it's going to give you a little bit of trouble with this polar fleece. Not too much trouble, but just the fact that you're going to have to pull at it. Oh, now this one was easy. The other one on the red one I had trouble with. Okay, so this one came out. That's good. Now I just have to get my finger in this part to pull out the part that's going to connect to the tabs. And same thing here. Let me see. Now the soft side should be easier. Watch it not be. Here we go. And you're poking at the corners, making sure they become, they get out, and they, they. Oh, see how this one is. See how I'm having a little bit of issue. Okay, and let me finish. I'll show you when I'm done. I'm going to stop the video so that way it won't. You get the point. You see how this is? You just get your finger in there and really, really, really push it, push it, push it. And here we go. Okay, this one is easier than the red one. That's good. So let me fix this and tweak it and get all the rest out. And I don't know if you see what I'm doing here. I'm pushing. Pushing, here we go. Let me finish this, pushing this out, and see the other tab right here, and pin the things in place, pin the opening shut, and go from there. Okay, so as you could see, I've sewn around the whole entire pattern to close off the bottom, the opening, and to finish pressing out the edges so that it's as out as possible. And now I am going to finish the dog jacket with closing off the tabs, connecting the tabs, excuse me. So I put the part that's around the neck, the tab that is on top, I overlapped it on top of the tab that was for the chest with the Velcro, and I put those together. And as you can see, I have I pinned here and here, and then I pinned from underneath, well, on top, to get the underneath part that's under here, here and here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew across here a couple of times and sew across here a couple of times, just so that it's completely connected. Now if you want to do a box stitch once or twice, that's fine too. I would go across here twice and here twice at least, and then do that for the other side. Sew across here at least twice, and then sew across here at least twice vertically, as you can see. And I took this piece off of the sewing machine so I can get in really close and do that. And then your jacket will be finished. So that's it. I have finished sewing the tabs at the shoulder for each side, and it is now reversible. It is a now finished jacket. Make sure you cut the threads, add a little extra threads here and there. Use small sharp little scissors for that. And this also can be made, it doesn't have to be squared like this, it could be scooped as well. I have at least 3 patterns for dog jackets for the Yorkie size. The Yorkie that I had was always changing, getting skinny and adding weight and growing, so of course I modified the patterns to it. And that's it. These are your dog jackets with the fleece from jandofabrics.com in Pennsauken, New Jersey, using fabricatedframes.com dog jacket patterns and e-patterns. Thank you very much, and go check out jandofabrics.com and fabricatedframes.com in Deptford, New Jersey. I'm online, and thank you very much. Have a good day.